Hello everybody and welcome back to the Kingdom Hearts 3 playthrough. We're still in the extras, obviously. I mean, we finished the main thing ages ago, but we are here today to take on the rest of the mini-games that Kingdom Hearts 3 has to offer. And this basically means we've got Verum Rex, Beat of Lead, and the Frozen Slider. So we're going to begin with Verum Rex, because honestly, I thought this one was going to sort of be the most frustrating, and I thought I'd just get it over and done with, but also I knew that we were going to spend a while in Frozen Slider because there's a lot of secrets hidden about there. Now, getting a high score, or at least getting the trophy score in Verum Rex Beat of Lead is not easy. Basically, you really need to know what you're doing, and you basically need to chain absolutely everything. Like, you do not want your chain to break if you can at all help it. Obviously, I had my chain broken there. Not ideal, but as I said, we may be seeing another round of Verum Rex going for that trophy score. Right now, it's probably going to end up being a rank score more than anything. But the main thing that you want to do is stay in a single Gigas and destroy everything in your wake with very little time between actually killing things. Obviously this can be a lot more difficult when you're faced with the little primes, because honestly those things have a ridiculous amount of health and it's ludicrous. But you do want to make sure you make use of the traps. The explodey balls are an absolute godsend in this regard, more so than any of the others, as is the glass there, because the Gigases walk onto that and they are screwed. But yes, I did have an interesting time doing this one, and it did take me a good few tries at least to get a good run down. So this is not an easy thing to do. It really is not. But you can do a pretty decent job of getting a good mojo going. Once you get to the boss here, you are undoubtedly going to lose your chain. That's fine. It's just a case of then killing him as quickly as is humanly possible. Obviously he can be quite a quick blighter, but I mean, if you can use any of the special things to hurt him, that's a positive. Also, just sort of keep your fire on him and just, you know, don't die. That'll basically do you right. I can't remember exactly the score that I need to get in order to get that wonderful trophy, but I think it might be 120,000. I think I am correct. Or it might be 1,200,000. I can't remember. But either way, we got the A rank. So that was a positive thing. But this time, we're going for that trophy score. Because I am a stubborn blighter, and I will not be beaten by anything if I can at all help it. As I said, I am ridiculously stubborn, and I will just sort of fight and destroy until I get my way with these sorts of things. And I will say that it was slightly terrifying going in to try and get this, because you cannot let up. You cannot make a single mistake if you want to get this trophy. It's ridiculous. you basically just got to keep running. I mean, I got very close to it all going horrendously wrong, because I did get hit a large number of times, which was not pretty. Not pretty in the slightest. Because what you want is you need that single Geas bonus that you get at the end in order to get that score. So if you end up, you know, mucking it up and losing your Gigas, well, then you're probably going to have to do it again. So it was a very, very, very tense kind of stretch here, trying to go through the thing and just like, oh god, I'm going to die, this is going to be awful, like, the world is going to end, because I was having a bit of a nightmare making sure I got a good run of this. And also, you know, when you got the beep 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 going at you, just like, oh my god, no, please don't do this to me. Like, I just want success here. Please allow this to go well. But thankfully, we managed to get to this guy without our chain breaking. So, you know, as long as we don't die, I should be able to get exactly what I want. Effectively, if you can get over 70,000, or let's see, what is it? 7,029,976. By the time you get to this guy, and you've kept your single Geas all the way through, you're probably pretty much there. But achieving it is a challenge. And I would just use the Gigas that you get right at the start, because honestly, it does the job that you need. I think the purple one is slightly better, but honestly, didn't need it, and that is my trophy score, and I am super happy with that. Because I was worried. I was seriously worried about completing that one, because, oh boy! The amount of, like, nightmare stories I had heard about it was quite insane. But I managed it. I was quite proud of myself. You know, it's a video game thing, honestly. I shouldn't be that proud of myself. But still, I was proud. And that is good. Also, am I going to remember to go get the... No, I don't think I am. I forgot to go get the Cactuar picture. That's annoying. Oh well, I will definitely make sure that I
make sure you get my good side.
Come back at some point in the near future. I mean, we will have to return to the toy box, so I will just have to make sure that I get that photo then. But as I said, next up on the list is the Frozen Slider, and that is basically where we are going to be for the rest of the part. Because, yeah, this is a bit of a challenge. Also, oh, Marshmallow. So cute.
Here, I'll show you the way.
So yes, Frozen Slider. The reason this particular minigame is more important than any of the others, because, as I mentioned, the treasures. And those treasures are what will let you an Auricalcum Plus, which is 100% necessary if you want to get the Ultima weapon. So you are going to have to do this as many times as you need to in order to get those treasures, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. And as you can see, it's going to take me a little bit of a while. Also, as part of this, we're also going to go for that high score. So we're doing a whole bunch of things throughout this. But I suppose part of what I wanted to show off with this whole thing is how challenging, I suppose, it is in order to get every single one of the treasures. Like, I'm pretty sure that I only included runs in which I successfully got a treasure, or successfully got exactly the thing that I wanted to get. Because this ended up being a really piecemeal minigame for me. Because even in situations where I thought I knew the direction I was going, I honestly did not know the direction I was going, and just ended up just completely flying past all sorts of things that I hadn't intended to fly past, because you need to get to 600,000 points before you reach the end of this course if you want to get the trophy for getting victory. Because I don't think you... okay, so you do get a bit of a bonus, the time bonus, and for not hitting anything. So you can sort of get a little bit extra at the end there. But what you really want is to get those points on the trail. And that can be a challenge. But I will say, no matter what, I do still have a lot of fun with this minigame. It's not perfect. At this point in time, when I recorded this, there weren't, I believe, the quality of life features that they implemented a little bit afterwards, which I think included the ability to access this from the gummy phone. I think it might have also done a slightly better job at telling you which treasures you had found. Because that was one of the things that I found a bit difficult, was because I knew that on my first trip through this I had gotten a treasure, but I couldn't remember which one it was. I believe it was number 1, so I did have quite a bit to go, but we got number 4 there. I think the thing that does frustrate me with this is the fact that they're all so spread out that it is absolutely impossible to get all of the treasures in one go. It wouldn't necessarily be a huge problem if you were able to get them in like easily in maybe 2 or 3 runs, but what's very likely to happen is that you are going to end up collecting maybe 1 treasure per run, so it's potentially going to take you like 10 runs in order to collect them all, at least if you're using a guide. And I was using a guide. It wasn't necessarily the best guide, and didn't necessarily help that a lot of the area looks the same. It's just like, after this turn, go down here. Honestly, what I would just say is follow a video guide. They will help. I mean, so like, watch this to know, okay, I've got to go here, then here, then here, then here, then here, in order to get to the thing that I want to get to. Once you're actually near them, it's not a problem to pick up the treasures. It's just the challenge of finding them on the mountain and successfully getting there. But yeah, what I was saying was, before I went sort of back onto sort of having a go at this minigame, is that I do still really enjoy it, because, and I believe I did mention this in the first time that we played it, it really, really reminds me of SSX, which was a snowboarding series from back in the day that did get a reboot in, I think it was 2013, but the reboot wasn't very... I mean, it was good, but it didn't have the personality of the original SSX games. And while obviously this doesn't necessarily have the insane colours and fireworks and soundtrack that the original SSXs did, it does very much remind me aesthetically of SSX3, which was based on like a more realistic mountain that you could slide down. Well, snowboard down, you weren't sliding on anything. Because that was just, it was really fun, it was really, really enjoyable. And honestly, I just absolutely adored it. And, oh, come on. Is this going to be the run? Is this the 600,000 pointer? Yes, it is. Got an excellent A rank there, and that was the 600,000 pointer, which nets you a trophy. Get in there. But yeah, the whole SSX thing. I just have really, really fond memories of playing those games as a kid, both the original SSX, SSX Tricky, well, not both, playing SSX, SSX Tricky, and SSX3. Like, they all do hold a really special place in my heart because they were just so good fun and had so much personality. And I would love to see the franchise get the reboot that it deserves, because I don't think that 2013 reboot did everything that it could have done to bring back the series to its past glories. Which is always a shame when those sorts of things happen, but honestly, rebooting a franchise of any description is a challenge. Like, nobody should take that lightly. Because so many things can go wrong. Like, changes that you make, some people who love that series will absolutely love it, some people will absolutely despise it. And I'm having a wonderfully terrible ride here. I mean, at least I managed to get the second treasure, so it's not altogether horrendous, but it could have gone a touch better. And that also could have gone a touch better because I could have gotten 2 in one bloody run. God's sake. But it's fine. But yeah, with the whole sort of, rebooting things, there's been a lot actually successfully done over the past few years. Like, I mean, the Crash remakes did very well and basically revived the Bandicoot. The Spyro remakes, I think, went down pretty well. I should finally be able to play them because they're coming to the Switch, and should hopefully, everything should come on the cartridge and they should have subtitles, so I will not feel bad about making that purchase. So you've got sort of those which have done a very good job at bringing back those franchises from the dead, and hopefully that means that we will get some brand new iterations in those franchises at some point in the coming years, and that's quite an exciting prospect. You've also had, Resident Evil has gone through, even though they have, I believe, all taken part in the same timeline, in the same shared universe, it's effectively gone through 2 reboots, because you had the first one with my brain just went completely blank there. That's very helpful. Yeah, so you had your first reboot with Resident Evil 4, where the gameplay style changed up quite dramatically. And then you sort of have had a second reboot with Resident Evil 7, which was very well received from what I remember. So that's a series that's done sort of really quite well. Devil May Cry had a false start reboot, and then a much more successful reboot in its actual numbered sequel. Because you went from Devil May Cry 4 to DMC Devil May Cry to Devil May Cry 5, and sort of that switch back to Devil May Cry 5 has effectively rejuvenated the franchise in a lot of people's minds. And so I think sort of any future games like Devil May Cry 6 is likely to do a lot better, because a lot of people have had the taste of DMC Devil May Cry washed out their mouths. In contrast, you have like the Tomb Raider reboots, which personally I really enjoyed the original Crystal Dynamics trilogy. So not the original trilogy or the original set of games in the Tomb Raider series. Even though I played a little bit of them as a kid, I never properly played them. So my real Tomb Raider experience comes from those original Crystal Dynamics, the original Crystal Dynamics trilogy. And even though critically they weren't the most beloved of games, and I think a lot of people disliked certain things that they did with regards to the gameplay and how puzzles worked, I really did enjoy that trilogy, and I did think that it was a really quite fun trilogy that did a really good job of capturing how I imagined Lara Croft to be. Then you had the second Tomb Raider trilogy, which was another reboot, and while critically the first one definitely did well, the second two sort of dipped after that. And I mean, to be perfectly frank, I did enjoy that Tomb Raider reboot in 2013 to begin with, because it felt different. It did feel fun at the time, but then the more I looked at it and how it sort of dealt with Lara's character, the more it just really began to annoy me. And it's why I really, really quickly went off that reboot series and didn't play any of the other games. Quite okay with that decision in the end, because I don't think I really missed out on much, especially considering the whole gist of the original Tomb Raider 2013 reboot. The original idea of that was, this is how Lara became the Tomb Raider, and then they spent another 2 games being, this is how Lara became the Tomb Raider. And it was like, and you've lost me. See, it's always interesting to take a character back to their root, show an origin story, show them not as competent as we imagine them to be. That is fine. But the problem comes when you take a character who was previously a strong badass, effectively, and make them effectively permanently somewhat incompetent and just generally not quite as excellent as they were. It sort of does not work as well as it should do. And this was a very interesting route to take to get to this particular treasure, but I managed it in the end. And we've only got 3 more to go, and funnily enough, we've got 3 more trips down this bloody mountain. I did try to do this, like, in as few runs as possible, but clearly it didn't quite work out all that well. But it's fine. We're nearly there. And I mean, yeah, all of these scores are really pretty poor. But it's okay, because at this point in time, I am only interested in those treasures. They are all I am after at this present moment in time. And, I mean, it's totally okay with me. Obviously, I would like it to, you know, go a little bit faster. I mean, I probably could have sped this up, but then equally, if you are in any way using this as a video guide of some description, I want you to actually be able to follow along, rather than thinking I'm a complete crazy person who's going all the way through, because that's not going to help anybody. And, well, that was number 3, and I think I know where this next 2... Well, I know where one of them is. One of them, you've got to follow that kind of line through the trees that we just sort of went over. The final one, I have absolutely no bloody idea. I've completely forgotten where the hell that thing was. I think I have to go through some trees somewhere and go off at an angle. Honestly, I think I've blocked quite a bit of this from my memory, because it did take me quite a while. I mean, we have done... Well, by the time we finish with this, we will have basically done 20 plus full minutes of Frozen Slider. So you don't get through this quickly, put it that way, but equally, you do not get through what we're going to be doing in the next few parts quickly. Because the next few parts, we are jetting off on a gummy ship galaxy adventure. And, oh boy, we are in for some pretty hefty parts. And that's, I mean, that is saying something. Like, none of them are as long as the finale, but they certainly get close. I mean, I wouldn't worry too much in the sense that the next 4 parts, well, the next 3 of the next 4 parts are going to be the longest that we're going to see for the rest of the playthrough. So if you've managed to make your way through everything so far, and you can make it through the next 4, then you're basically on the home stretch. And it'll all be good, because there's some fun stuff coming after that. I mean, what we're going to be dealing with in the next 4 parts with our gummy ship adventure is going to be fun. It's just going to take a while to get through everything, because I am going to show off everything. And everything takes a while. Yes, 9 treasures. Time for the last slide. Oh, good God. I'm really quite proud that we have made it this far. Because it means that all of the mini-games of Kingdom Hearts 3 are done. Gameplay-wise, basically all that remains for us to cover is the gummy ship and the battle gates. and that is effectively going to sort of bring us on home. There are a few bits and pieces that we will be covering after the battle gates. Primarily extra bits and pieces. Oh yeah, also I realised I could double jump, which would have been really helpful earlier. Bloody typical. But yeah, there's a couple of bits and pieces which I just want to go over. I mean, you're basically looking at the gummy phone, the missing cutscenes that we have in the final world, and then just tying everything off in a perfect, neat little bow for the true end of my final solo playthrough ever. Which still feels insane to say. But we are getting close. We're getting very close to the end now, and while I know obviously there are quite a few parts left still, we wrapped up quite a number of things so far, and that does make me very happy. But yes, there we go, there's the final treasure, and there is our Orichalcum Plus. We no longer need to play the Frozen Slider. Thank the Lord! I bet you're all about as sick of it as I was by that point. But yes, that's basically all of that done. I think we do still need to get a proper picture of Marshmallow, which you can do just by, you know, going anywhere that's not here and taking the photo, and that will be fine. At this point I was just saying, what else can I make? And then also just like what I've got left on the ultimate weapon. There's still quite a few things. And I'm just like, right, the friends, the creepy shadow swarm, the bloomin' cactuar, every type of synthesis material, basically the key things we've got left. All a bunch of slightly annoying things. But yeah, I thought, since I potentially don't have some of these things, let's buy them. Why not? Obviously you can just pick them up blooming anywhere, but they can obviously help us do a few things in the workshop. Nothing much. Also, I definitely want some other things because I'm running out of money.
This in the mail.
And oh yeah, this is another thing. So, I'd completely forgotten, but one of the Orichalcum Pluses that we need is in the mailbox in Twilight Town. And it can be a bit annoying to get, because obviously you need to purchase things to be able to get the postcards. Some people happen to get incredibly lucky with the post box. Like, incredibly lucky, like, first time they use it, they get the bloody Orichalcum Plus. I was not that lucky. I'm pretty sure I had to save scum a couple of times in order to get it. But hey, save scumming is a perfectly viable tactic for these sorts of things. Because obviously, if you've got to spend money to get a prize postcard, and you're not going to be going around everywhere a ridiculous amount, what is the point of sort of wasting all that money which you'd be spending on other things which is going to be more useful to you in the grand scheme of things? So yeah, I totally save scummed this. I can't remember how many times it took for me to succeed with the prize postcard. It definitely took me a little while. I think anyway. I mean, we'll see in a second. So that's 2 times. Am I just going to keep buying things until it gives me what I want? Clearly I am. I can't quite remember what the thing is which gives you the prize postcard. I don't know whether it's over a certain level of, like, over a certain money total. I don't know whether you need to somehow get over 1,000. Yeah, it looks like you have to spend over 1,000 money. But there we go, Orichalcum Plus. Bloody finally. So I believe that, yep, that's 6 of the 7 Orichalcum Pluses. Only 1 more to go. And next time we're heading off in our gummy ship. So get prepared for a lot of aerial space combat. It's going to be a blast.